Welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're joining us for the first time, this is where we take a stack of articles, ancient game manuals, forum archives, and developer notes, and we basically distill them down into something you can actually use. We find the signal in the noise.
And today, the signal is coming from a very specific, very dusty frequency.
It really is. We're returning to the world of Arcanum, of Steamworks and Magic Obscura.
A favorite of ours.
A definite favorite. Now, usually, when people talk about this game, they talk about the cover art. You know, the knight in shining armor facing off against the guy with the flintlock pistol.
Yeah, the core conflict. Steampunk versus fantasy, that's the elevator pitch, right?
Exactly. That's what it says on the box.
It is the surface-level conflict, certainly. It's what sold the game back in 2001. But if you actually play it, if you really live in that world for 40 or 50 hours, you realize that the steam engines and the fireballs are, they're just the window dressing.
Right. And that's what we're doing today. We are looking at episode 6 of our Arcanum series. We're calling of Steam and Sorcery. But honestly, I think we should probably call it the soul of Arcanum.
Ah, that's a much better title.
Because we aren't talking about crafting recipes or the best gun builds today. Not at all. We are diving into the religion, the metaphysics, the actual spiritual backbone of this entire universe.
Which is, I mean, it's surprisingly deep for a game that lets you play as a half-ogre with a low IQ. The writers at Troika Games built a theological system that actually functions. It has rules, it has history, and most importantly, it has secrets.
Massive secrets. We have a huge stack of notes here covering the two main religious systems in the game. On one corner, you have the Panarii. They are the heavyweight champ, the dominant church. If you walk into any major city in the game, you see their temples. They have the priests, the robes, the nice architecture. They're the establishment.
They're the institution. They are the political face of faith in Arcanum. Very visible, very loud.
And in the other corner, you have something, well, something weirder, something way older, the Wheel of the Ancient Gods.
And the contrast between these two is really the heart of today's discussion. You have the Panarii, which is this, like you said, loud, public, organized religion. And as we are going to find out, it is built on a foundation that is, let's just say, shaky.
Shaky is polite. It's a house of cards sitting on a landmine. It's a disaster waiting to happen.
And then you have the ancient gods. This isn't a church you go to on Sundays. It's not about community bake sales. It's a tangible, almost scientific system of magic that permeates the world. It doesn't care if you believe in it or not.
No.
It just works if you know the combination.
It's the difference between listening to a sermon and sticking a fork in an electrical socket. One is a story. The other is a shock to the system. You feel it.
That's a perfect analogy. One is theoretical, the other is empirical.
So look, before we get into the heavy spoilers, and there are going to be massive, massive spoilers today, so if you haven't finished a 20-year-old game, consider yourself warned. Let's set the scene. You're a player, you drop into Arcanum. What is your first interaction with religion?
It's immediate. It's the first thing that happens. You crash land in a blimp, the IFS Zephyr. You are the sole survivor. And a monk named Virgil runs up to you and immediately starts panicking. He calls you the living one.
Right. He thinks you're the Messiah, straight out of the gate. No tutorial, just you're the chosen one.
Pretty much. He is a member of the Panarii faith, and this introduces us to the core tenet of their religion. They are followers of a figure named Nasrudin.
Okay, so let's unpack Nasrudin. Who is this guy? Is he a god, a wizard? What's the official story?
The official story is that he was an elf, an incredibly powerful elven hero from the Age of Legends, which was about 2,000 years before the game starts.
A long, long time ago.
The Panarii teach that Nasrudin was the champion of light. He fought a cataclysmic war against his own son, Aranax.
Aranax, the big bad, the destroyer. You hear that name whispered throughout the whole game.
Exactly. He's the boogeyman. The story goes that Aranax wanted to destroy the world, or enslave the lesser races, depending on which translation of the text you read. Nasrudin fought him, defeated him, and banished him to the void.
A sort of pocket dimension, a prison.
A magical prison, yeah. And in that final battle, Nasrudin was either killed or he ascended to a higher plane of existence. The church is a little vague on that point.
Standard fantasy stuff so far?
Yeah.
Hero defeats villain, hero goes to heaven, religion is formed around hero. It seems pretty straightforward.
On the surface, yes. The Panarii believe in a prophecy. They believe Nasrudin isn't gone for good. They are waiting for his reincarnation. They call this figure the living one.
And there's a specific sign they're looking for?
A very specific sign. The prophecy says he will be reborn on wings of fire to fight the final battle when Aranax inevitably breaks out of his prison.
Which is why Virgil freaks out. You fell out of the sky in a burning blimp. Wings of fire. It checks the box.
It fits the description perfectly. So the player starts the game thinking, okay, I'm the chosen one. My path is clear. I need to go to the Panarii church, get my holy orders, and save the world.
But this is Arcanum. It's never that simple, is it?
Never.
Because when you actually start peeling back the layers of the Panarii church,
Yeah.
it gets gross. It starts to feel less like a spiritual home and more like a political machine.
It is a bureaucracy. You get sent on errands. You have to deal with functionaries. But the rot goes all the way to the top. All the way. We need to talk about the man running the show, the first priest.
Kanhua.
Kanhua.
Yeah.
Even the name sounds ancient and imposing. To the average citizen in Caledon or Tarrant, who is this guy?
He is the Pope, essentially. He is the benevolent, wise, human leader of the faith. He sits in the first Panarii temple in Caledon, he interprets the scriptures, and he guides the flock. He is the ultimate authority on Nasrudin's will.
He's the moral center of the human world, supposedly. But we have the deep lore notes here, the stuff you find if you dig through the endgame content, the things you only learn if you are, very thorough. Kanhua isn't human, is he? No, not even close. And this is the first major crack in the facade. Kanhua is a dark elf.
Whoa. Wait. A dark elf. But the Panarii hate dark elves. The dark elves are the literal bad guys in their stories. They're the servants of Aranax. How is a dark elf running the church?
Illusion magic. Powerful, ancient illusion magic. Kanhua isn't just a dark elf. He is a survivor from the Age of Legends. He's been alive for thousands of years.
He was there?
He was there. He knew Nasrudin personally. He knew Aranax personally. He fought in the war.
So you have an immortal enemy agent masquerading as the high priest of the human religion. That's terrifying. It's like finding out the head of the Rebel Alliance is actually Palpatine in a mask.
It is exactly like that.
Yeah.
And his motivation puts the entire game into perspective. He isn't running the Panarii to help the living one. He's running it to control the narrative.
Because if he controls the prophecy, he controls how the world reacts when Aranax comes back.
Precisely. Kanhua wants Aranax to return. He is Aranax's lieutenant, effectively. He built the Panarii church, or at least co-opted it, to keep humanity docile.
Wow.
He wants them looking for a savior so that they don't look for the truth. He mythologizes Aranax as this unseen evil, this satanic figure to be feared, because fear makes people obedient.
If people are afraid of the devil, they listen to the priest. And if the priest is working for the devil, well, you're screwed.
You are. It's an institutional tool. The Panarii is a top-down control system. It relies on hierarchy. You listen to the priest who listens to the bishop, who listens to Kanhua. And because it relies on that chain of command, it is incredibly vulnerable to corruption at the top.
Surely over 2,000 years, someone must have noticed. Someone had to have gotten suspicious. You can't keep a conspiracy that big going forever.
And someone did. Which brings us to my absolute favorite subplot in the entire game, the tragedy of St. Mannox.
Oh, man. This part plays out like a noir detective movie. It's fantastic. You're in the city of Caledon. It's always kind of gray and raining. There's this grim atmosphere. So Mannox is a big deal in the church, right?
Huge. He is a saint. There are statues of him. He was the first acolyte a few centuries ago, a pillar of the faith.
And what's the official story on him?
The official church history says Mannox was a martyr. He was killed by heathens or enemies of the faith while defending the scriptures. He is held up as the ideal believer, someone who died for the faith.
Someone who died for the lie, as it turns out.
Exactly. But the player gets to investigate this. You start finding these little discrepancies, these loose threads.
It's a full-on detective quest.
It starts with archaeology, actually. Mannox wasn't just a priest. He was a scholar. He was obsessed with the history of Nasrudin. And he was digging into things that Kanhua desperately wanted to keep hidden.
And what did he find? What was the big secret?
He found proof that Nasrudin was still alive.
Wait, hang on. If Nasrudin is alive, then the entire prophecy is garbage. The whole thing.
The whole thing. Exactly. The Panarii teaches that Nasrudin died and will be reincarnated. You cannot be reincarnated if you are still breathing.
Right.
If Nasrudin is just some old elf living in retirement somewhere on a secret island, then the concept of the living one is a total lie. The church's authority, its entire reason for being, just collapses.
So Mannox finds this out. He must have confronted Kanhua.
We can assume he did. He brought the truth to the high priest, thinking he was exposing a simple mistake, and Kanhua murdered him.
It's so cold-blooded.
It is. But Kanhua is arrogant. He's been getting away with this for centuries. He doesn't just kill Mannox and dump the body in a swamp. He hides the body in plain sight.
This is the part that gave me chills when I first played it. It's so brilliant. You go into the first Panarii temple in Caledon. It's this huge, impressive building. You go down into the crypts, and there is a massive, ornate sarcophagus labeled Nasrudin.
The holiest site. The pilgrims come from all over the world to pray to the bones of their god. The church claims Nasrudin's earthly remains are inside.
So, being the intrepid adventurer and slightly disrespectful grave robber that you are, you pry the lid off. And what do you find inside?
You find a skeleton. But if you have high perception or the medical skill, you notice two things immediately. First, the skeleton is human.
But Nasrudin was an elf.
Nasrudin was an elf, and elves and humans have very different bone structures in Arcanum. It's a dead giveaway if you know what you're looking for.
So it's a fake. It's not him.
It's a total fake. But the second detail is the real smoking gun. The skeleton is missing a finger.
A missing finger. And earlier in the game, or maybe later depending on your path, you can find a religious artifact called the Finger of Mannox. It's a holy relic.
It's a holy relic. The church claims it's the only part of him they recovered after his martyrdom. So when you put two and two together...
The body in the god's tomb isn't the god. It's the murder victim. It's Mannox.
Kanhua killed Mannox and stuffed him into Nasrudin's coffin. It is a level of cynical cruelty that is hard to overstate. He forces the faithful to pray to the very man who tried to warn them.
That is just messed up. But Mannox, he knew he was going to die, didn't he? He must have suspected. He left a clue.
He did. On the inside of the sarcophagus lid, written in blood, presumably his own, in his dying moments, are two words.
Opposite and truth.
Opposite and truth. It sounds like a bad riddle from a cheap fantasy novel, but in the game, it's actually a navigational instruction. A brilliant one.
How does it work?
It refers to another ancient site, the Ring of Brodgar, which is this circle of stones out in the wilderness. There are coordinates and directions associated with the Panarii mythology found there in some texts. Mannox is telling you to take the compass directions given in the scripture and reverse them. Go opposite.
So if the Holy Book says, go 10 paces south, you go 10 paces north.
Exactly. North instead of south, east instead of west. You follow the opposite path.
And if you do that, what do you find?
You find Mannox's secret vault, his hidden study. And inside, you find his journal. And in that journal, he lays it all out. Nasrudin lives. The prophecy is a lie. Kanhua is a deceiver.
It effectively hands the player the keys to deconstruct the entire main plot. You realize that the Chosen One narrative you've been fed for 20 hours is just a control mechanism designed by the bad guys.
It's brilliant, brilliant storytelling. It forces the player to stop trusting authority figures. The Panarii is a path of inspiration, but it's a manufactured inspiration. It's a tool designed to be broken. Kanhua knows eventually Aranax will return, and he wants the church to be confused and helpless when he does.
So, okay, the Panarii is the false path, the political path. It's a lie. Let's pivot to the other side of the coin. Because the game doesn't just say religion is fake, it says this specific church is fake. But there is real divine power in the world.
Yes, absolutely. And this brings us to the Wheel of the Ancient Gods.
Now, I remember stumbling onto this. It's so different from the Panarii. You find an altar in the middle of nowhere, maybe it's in a ruin or a deep forest, and you click on it and it says something cryptic. And then nothing happens.
Right. Most players ignore it on their first playthrough, or they mess it up. Because unlike the Panarii, where you just show up and listen to a sermon, the ancient gods require work. It is a bottom-up system. It is experiential. It demands effort.
You have to earn it.
You have to earn it. And we have to talk about the source material here. In the game, you can find a book called The Pagan Gods of Arcanum by a guy named Aldous T. Buxington III, and another, more important text called The Book of the 12 Powers by Mazarin the Elven Mystic.
Mazarin's book is the key, isn't it?
It is the Bible for this quest. It outlines the cosmology. It's not just a bunch of random gods you can pray to. It is a precise mathematical system, a cosmic formula.
The rule of fives. I have the quote here from the book. 4 powers and then a fifth. 3 fives and then the 1.
That is the code. That's the whole quest right there in one sentence. The gods are arranged in 3 circles: the sun circle, the moon circle, and the earth circle. Each circle has 4 lesser gods and 1 greater god.
So that's your 4 powers and then a fifth. 4 lesser, 1 greater.
Exactly. And the 3 fives refers to completing all 3 of those circles. And then the 1 is the final ultimate step.
The catch, and this is why I love this game's design so much, is that the gods are they're jealous, or maybe just chemically reactive. If you pray to them in the wrong order, you don't just fail, you get punished.
It works like a circuit board.
Yeah.
If you try to plug the final power cable in before you've wired all the resistors, the whole thing shorts out. Offering to a greater god cancels out the blessings you've received from the lesser gods unless you have locked them in by doing the sequence perfectly.
You lose all your progress.
Yeah.
All those stat boosts, just gone.
Gone. You have to start the circle over. It's punishing.
So let's walk the listener through this pilgrimage, because the detail here tells us a lot about how this world views morality. It's not just good versus evil. It's deeper than that. Let's start with the sun circle, the path of light.
The sun circle is usually where players start because the gods are, well, the nice, they represent positive virtues. They're the good guys.
You have 4 lesser gods here. First, there's Terrell. He's the elven god of wisdom. His altar is usually found in quiet, forested places. Very serene.
And to get his blessing, you need to offer a Latani statuette. It's the small, delicate elven carving. You can find them in shops or ruins, but they are easy to miss. It represents art, culture, and contemplation.
Then you have Makal, the Bedokan god of the hunt. Now, the Bedokan are those lizard people living in the swamps of Kintara. They are very tribal, very primal.
And Makal wants a heart stone. It's a literal stone that looks like a heart found on certain magical creatures. It represents the vitality of the prey, the respect for the cycle of life and death in nature. It's a noble hunt.
Next is Elbrick, the dwarven god of stone. Big surprise there.
Very stoic. He wants a lava rock. It connects him to the forge, to the deep earth where dwarves live. It represents endurance, creation, the bones of the world.
You're finally Gestiana, the human goddess of love. Her offering is the passion root.
Which is a very biological offering, shall we say. It represents fertility, life, romance, the continuation of the species.
So look at that group. Wisdom, hunt, stone, love, elf, lizard, dwarf, human. It's a coalition. It represents all the noble aspects of the major good races.
It is. It covers the mind, the body, the earth, and the heart. Once you have made offerings to all 4 of these, and you have to physically travel to their altars, which are scattered miles and miles apart across the continent, you are ready for the greater god of the sun.
Halcyon, the god of truth.
His altar is in the town of Voradin, and his offering is so simple but so perfect, an olive branch.
Peace.
Peace and truth. When you offer the branch to Halcyon after you've honored the other 4, you complete the sun circle. And your reward is a massive permanent stat boost to your willpower, your perception, and your healing rate.
You essentially become a beacon of light, more perceptive, more strong-willed. You heal faster. But maybe you're playing a thief. Maybe you're an assassin. Maybe truth isn't your vibe.
Then you walk the moon circle, the path of shadow.
This one is fascinating because the offerings feel so much more transactional. They're about taking, not giving. They represent the darker side of civilization.
It starts with Torg, the ogre god. Now, ogres in Arcanum are simple, brutal creatures. Torg's symbol is the heart. But unlike the noble hunt of Makal, Torg wants a ruby.
Why a ruby? It's not a heart.
Because it simulates a heart of blood. It's a shiny, valuable object that looks like gore. It appeals to the ogre's greed and hunger simultaneously. It's a crude approximation.
That's visceral. Okay, then you have Bolo, the halfling god of thieves.
Bolo wants a ring. It doesn't have to be a magic ring. Any old ring will do. Why? Because rings are the easiest thing to steal. It's the symbol of the pickpocket. It's about acquiring other people's property.
Then Curlin, the known god of wealth.
He wants a coin. Just pure, cold, hard cash. It represents the accumulation of capital, commerce, industry. Very gnomish.
And finally, Shakar, the Orcish god of war.
Now, this is a really specific one. He demands a bone dagger.
Not a steel dagger, not a fancy magic sword.
No. The scriptures say steel represents the will of man, or technology. Bone represents the primal self, the horns of the beast. It has to be a weapon made of death, of something that was once alive. It's about savage, personal conflict.
So you have greed represented by the ruby, theft by the ring, wealth by the coin, and violence by the bone dagger. You do those 4, and you unlock the greater god of the moon.
Morindal, the god of shadow.
And what do you give him?
You offer him a black diamond, the rarest gem, the heart of darkness. Completing this circle turns you into a predator. You get permanent boost to your backstab skill, your prowling skill, and your chance to land a critical hit.
So now the player has a choice. You can be good, following the sun, or you can be evil, following the moon. But the riddle says 3 5s. There's a third circle, and this is the one that confuses everyone. the Earth Circle.
The path of balance. And the confusion comes because there are no new gods for the lesser slots. You don't go find 4 new altars.
Right. You get to the Earth Circle section of the quest log, and it tells you to pray to Alberich again and Makal again. What's going on?
It's a synthesis. The clue in Mazarin's book is the road between them is marked with stones. You have to revisit gods from the previous 2 circles, but in a specific order that bridges the gap between light and shadow.
And the order is very specific. It's Alberich, Stone Dwarf, then Makal, Hunt Lizard, then Curlin, Wealth Gnome, and then Bolo, Thief Halfling.
Think about that progression for a second. You go from the stoic foundational stone, which is neutral good, to the primal hunt, which is true neutral, to wealth, which is neutral selfish, to theft, which is chaotic neutral.
You are literally walking the line from stability to chaos, from earth to society, from altruism to selfishness.
Exactly. And once you redo those 4 offerings in that precise order, you unlock the greater god of the Earth Circle, Kaitan, the goddess of balance. And her offering is a geode.
I love that symbolism. A geode is just a rough, ugly rock on the outside, but if you crack it open, inside it's a perfect, beautiful crystal structure.
It represents hidden harmony. Balance isn't obvious. It's something you have to crack open to find. And the expert note here is key. Balance in Arcanum isn't just neutrality. It's not apathy. It is the understanding of both sides. You have to have worshipped the thief and the warrior and the lover to understand the balance. You need the whole picture.
So imagine the player now. You have spent maybe 30 hours on this. You have crisscrossed the entire continent. You have dragged rubies and lava rocks and olive branches through dungeons. You have completed the sun, the moon, and the earth. 3 5s.
You are ready for the one.
Velorien, the Allfather, the god of gods.
This is the ultimate secret. This is the end game of the religious track. You have to find the altar of Velorien and the location. The location is the biggest piece of environmental storytelling in the entire game.
Where is it?
It is in the Depis ruins of the city of Vendigroth.
Okay, we need to paint a clear picture of Vendigroth for the listener, because this isn't just another dungeon full of skeletons.
No. Vendigroth is. It's unsettling. It was the most technologically advanced civilization in the history of Arcanum. We are talking about a society that had electricity, automation, advanced chemistry, perhaps even nuclear capability. They were the absolute apex of science.
And then they were wiped out.
Completely obliterated. The city is a wasteland when you find it. There are twisted metal girders, vents releasing strange steam, weird radioactive glows. It's a tech graveyard. It represents the hubris of man. It's the place Aranax destroyed specifically because he hated their technology.
And yet,
right?
In the middle of all that desolation, surrounded by broken machines and the dust of a dead civilization, sits the pristine, untouched altar of the supreme god.
It's a paradox, isn't it? Why is the holiest site in the world located in the capital city of science?
You'd expect it to be in a sacred elfin forest or on a snowy mountain peak, not in the middle of a factory floor.
Exactly. It forces us to rethink the history of the world. In modern Arcanum, tech and magic are enemies. They repel each other, they conflict. But the ancients, the Vendigrothians, they didn't see it that way.
The placement of the altar suggests they never abandoned religion in their technological pursuits. They were trying to solve the universe from both ends. They used steam engines and prayer. They wanted the complete picture.
Or perhaps they realized that at the highest level, magic is just another form of physics. It has rules. It's repeatable. It's a science in its own right.
So you step up to the altar, you've done the work, you are in the ruins,
Yeah.
You approach Velorien. What does the Allfather want? Does he want a dragon scale? The heart of a star?
No, he wants you.
That's ominous.
You walk onto the platform, there's no item to drop, you trigger the altar, and Velorien strikes you dead.
Excuse me, he just kills you.
He kills you. The screen flashes white. Your health drops to 0. You die.
That is a bold design choice after all that work.
It is the ultimate offering. You have to give up your own existence. But obviously the game doesn't end there, usually. Velorien kills you and then immediately resurrects you. It's a symbolic death and rebirth.
Usually. I hear a massive caveat in your voice.
Yes. There is a trap. A brilliant, nasty little mechanical trap for the players who didn't pay attention to the world's metaphysics.
Okay, lay it on me.
In Arcanum, there is a gameplay slider, a spectrum. On one end is magic, on the other is tech. If you use guns, build steam engines, wear powered armor, and learn smithing, your tech aptitude goes up.
Right, and if your tech aptitude is high, Magic doesn't work on you as well. Healing spells fail more often, fireballs just bounce off you.
Exactly. You develop a natural magic resistance.
Oh.
Now, consider the Ritual of Velorien. Step 1, kill the player. That's just, damn it, it works on everyone. Step 2, cast a resurrection spell on the player.
Oh no, I see where this is going.
If you are a tech master, if you are the ultimate scientist walking around in your machined plate mail with an elephant gun, you walk onto that altar, the god strikes you dead, that part works fine, but then the god tries to cast resurrect.
And your tech-heavy body just resists it.
Your body resists it, the spell fizzles, and you just stay dead. Game over. Relayed your save from 2 hours ago.
That is incredible. The game literally deletes you for being too skeptical of its magic system.
It is the game enforcing its own laws. You cannot achieve spiritual enlightenment if you are too grounded in the material world. You have to be willing to let the magic in. If you have closed your soul to magic to build better guns, you cannot receive the ultimate blessing.
That is such a gotcha moment. I can imagine players 20 years ago screaming at their CRT monitors.
Oh, the forums were full of them. Bug at Velorien altar, my game is broken. No, it's not a bug, it's theology. It's the point.
But assuming you survive, assuming you aren't a walking tank of skepticism, and you allow the spell to work, you wake up, you have the blessing of Velorien. What does it actually do? Is it worth all this headache?
It is the single most powerful buff in the history of role-playing games. It is not an exaggeration to say it turns you into a demigod.
Okay, give me the numbers. Break it down.
Okay, you get plus 100 to your hit points and plus 100 to your fatigue, just flat out. That can double or even triple the health of most characters. Then you get plus 12 to the skills melee, dodge, pickpocket, firearms, and persuasion.
Hold on. Plus 12. The skills only go up to 20. That's more than halfway to mastering 5 different skills instantly.
Exactly. It instantly masters multiple disciplines for you. You also get plus 4 to your dexterity stat, which is huge, and plus 30 to both damage resistance and magic resistance.
Holy cow, you become unstoppable. But look at what those skills are. Melee for a warrior, dodge for defense, pickpocket for a thief, firearms for a technologist, and persuasion for a diplomat.
It's a greatest hits album.
It is.
It represents the synthesis.
Yeah.
By walking the full wheel, by understanding the sun, the moon, and the earth, you transcend the game's classes. You aren't just a mage or a thief anymore, you are complete. You are the avatar. You embody all paths.
It makes the player the most powerful entity in the world. Which brings us to the big thematic question, the so what of this whole deep dive. We have 2 systems here, the Panarii and the ancient gods. Why did the developers put both in the game? What's the point?
I think it's a critique of authority versus experience. The Panarii is top-down, it tells you what to think. Nasrudin is coming, be good, listen to Kanhua. And because it demands blind faith, it is easily hijacked by evil. Kanhua can wear the hat and say the right words, and everyone follows him right off the cliff.
It's fragile. The central line makes it incredibly fragile.
Right, but the ancient gods, that is bottom up. It demands action. You have to walk the miles, you have to find the items, you have to bleed for it. It doesn't ask you to believe in Velorien, it asks you to engage with the fundamental laws of the universe.
And the reward is tangible. The Panarii gives you a warm, fuzzy feeling and lie. Velorien gives you plus 100 hit points. You can't fake plus 100 hit points.
It treats divinity like a science. Input A plus input B plus the correct sequence equals divine power. It is consistent. It is fair. It doesn't care who you are, what your alignment is, only that you do the work.
Which connects back to the living one irony. The player starts the game being told, you are the living one, by the Panarii Church. But we know that's a fake title based on a lie.
But by completing the ancient god's quest, you become a living god. You gain the power to reshape the world. You fulfill the prophecy not by following the church, but by bypassing them entirely and going straight to the source.
You earn the title. You aren't born with it. You take it through your own actions.
That is the ultimate empowerment fantasy right there.
It's deep stuff. And before we wrap up, I want to leave the listener with one final thought, something that has been bugging me since I read through these notes again.
Go on.
We talked about Vendigroth. Aranex destroyed that city. He hated it. He wanted to wipe the stain of technology off the map. He leveled the buildings, killed the people, salted the earth.
Yes. Total annihilation.
But he left the altar. The altar of Velorien is sitting there, pristine, untouched, in the middle of the blast zone.
It is.
Why? If Aranex is the destroyer, if he is this ultimate evil, this force of pure destruction, why did he spare the seat of the Allfather? Was he afraid of it? Or did he respect it? What does that mean?
That is the question, isn't it? Perhaps even the destroyer knows his limits. Civilizations rise and fall. Vendigroth is dust. The city of Tarrant might be next. Kanhua's church will eventually crumble when the truth comes out. But the wheel, the cosmic cycle of light, shadow, and balance, that remains.
You can break a city, but you can't break the laws of physics. And in Arcanum, the gods are the physics.
Even Aranax is just a spoke in that wheel, whether he knows it or not.
That is a haunting thought to end on. The gods are just watching, waiting for their geodes and their bone daggers.
Always waiting.
Well, on that note, I think our work here is done. If this conversation made you want to reinstall Arcanum, please go for it. Dig up those old save files. Try the pilgrimage.
Just please, for the love of Velorien, unequip your mechanized arachnid before you step on that final altar.
Consider that your public service announcement. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.
Okay.